myactivity.google.com, right? Myactivity. So if you haven't visited this website, just visit it after the session. You will be surprised that what kind of data is available for yourself with Google, right? So even if you have like at what particular moment you have started up a WhatsApp, which particular second you have stopped your YouTube video, that is also known by this particular portal, right? So just have a look into this myactivity.google.com. Your locations also, right? Like at 3 o'clock, where were you, right? Or you have visited your university over the bike or over the car. What was the driving speed?
Sorry to interrupt you, sir. Are you sharing the screen?
Yes. Is it
I think it's not visible. I thought that you are giving the question answer. That's why I didn't disturb you.
Okay, fine. Let me just reshare the screen. Is it visible now?
Yes.
Right. It's Notepad, right? myactivity.google.com.
Yeah.
Yeah, fine. So yes, I was like referring to this question, right? Which I was.
That's why I didn't disturb you.
Yeah. So just visit to this website, right, and try to see what kind of details of yourself is available with the Google, right? And on to the job part, that in one of the meme, it was advertisement of Google recruitment, wherein they have said that don't carry your CV, we have all your information with us, right? So that's the information which Google collects for yourself for the various data analytics purpose. What are the basic requirements and certification one should be ready with, right? So I think sir has already answered that CEH is one of the hot demanded course which you should get certified, and that will be helpful for you if you wish to have your career into this particular field, because that certificate is very much essential when you want to jump into this field apart from your routine academics. So let's say if you're BTech in your computer science, right, then that will be an added feature in yourself, that you have also have a CES certification, so that you can opt for, and it will be good for your knowledge improvement as well as gaining a knowledge into this particular domain, right? Regarding the mobile forensics, so as I already answered that, like I was saying that so many people have messaged this particular thing, so you can exploit that particular vulnerability which exists into the particular software, right, or particular version of your mobile phone. Let's say if it is a Samsung J7, then what is the version of that build, and if you are able to find out that exploit of that particular version, right, you will be easily able to get into the system, right? Even people, like let's say we have certain cases wherein the someone has suicided, right, and someone has suicided or someone has been killed, right, and no one of the family member is knowing the password of his mobile phone. So we have such kind of phones wherein we were able to be like, initially we will not be able to retrieve all the stuff because the mobile phone has been locked. But if we wait for some time, right, or if the mobile phone has not been updated with the latest security patches, then we will be definitely having exploit of that, and then we'll be able to retrieve all the details from a mobile phone. And let's say if the today it's iPhone 11 is the version going on, right? After 1 year or after 2 years, there will be a newer version, and on the after 2 years, right, there will be in 2 years of span, there will be various vulnerability which has been disclosed by various users, right? So that we can try on that particular phone, because for that next 1.5 years, you need to keep your mobile phone onto the aeroplane mode or resident into the switch off mode. So that is why the system is not going to update it, and then you can try that particular exploit onto that mobile phone. It will take a time, but still there is a chances to get good information from that particular mobile phone, right? So that's, I guess, the answers to these questions. If we have anything else, then we can do that, and then we'll shift to the next topic. How can I access the recording? Anybody? Okay, that I guess that's a good answer. On last day, is it decided as?
Yes, sir. Skip that question because already said multiple times as of now.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think now this session, as per your discussion, telephonic conversation, this session is not being provided to the participants, right?
Right. So this part 2, right? That is like basically I'm going to talk
bug bounty,
especially for the bug bounties, right? So I'll be demonstrating them some of the things onto the live website. So as per the ethics, it's like it should not be provided to the anyone else, right? Or I am not supposed to share that particular content. So that is why you will not be getting a recording for now onwards, right? For this particular session, but the rest of the sessions will be provided by the organizer. Right? Okay. So bug bounty, right? So many of you have already heard this catchy word, right? That people are working into the and they are earning a lot or not much of rupees from this particular. Right? So what's that particular area, right? What's the particular area and how the things are working here? So let me just brief you first, and then we'll gradually move to the demonstration of the same. Okay, so these are the two market leader companies, you can say. The one is HackerOne and one more is in Bugcrowd. Right? These are the two platforms which provides a security researcher. Security researchers means the ethical hackers who are going to test my website and report it to me that this is what the vulnerability which I have found on your website. And then again, this Bugcrowd or the HackerOne is going to pay you that, let's say $100 rupees for finding out such kind of a stuff, or $200 for finding out this particular thing. So this are the, you can say, as an mediators, but the platform is going to verify that whatever the thing you are saying is correct or not, or let's say if it is proof of concept has been provided, POC has been provided, then it will verify that yes, this is something which is working on the target system, right? And yes, people are able to exploit that, and your data is going to be leaked into the market, or XSS is possible here, or let's say CSRF is possible, or else some business logic bugs are there. So this basically, these are the two platforms worldwide available, right, which basically organizes such kind of an program, right, that keeps going on, right? So आपके पास मतलब like you will be having a list of the companies. These are the companies which has been available for testing, right? So with that, you will be able to try your skills onto that particular website. So for an example, if I just take out this any random here, right? The one is says mail.ru. So let me just go to that. These are the various websites, right? At which particular website you can try your skill, whether there is an XSS available, whether the SQL is available or not, right? So for each program, they will be providing you some guidelines, right? Because it's something stuff which you are going to try onto that website, which can harm their particular web server or particular network. So we need to follow certain guidelines, right? Otherwise, this may be a problematic for you under the IT Act, right? So whenever you are trying, or whenever you are performing any kind of stuff on any live website, make sure that you are not doing any mischief to that organization, or you are not harming that particular organization with the guidelines which they have released, right? So if I just go to these program details, the brief of that company that has been given out, right? Ratings and rewards, how they are giving to the researchers, that has been given. Then what kind of vulnerabilities are there, right? So let's say RCE, that is remote code execution, is there, then they will reward it with the $30,000. If it is an SQL injection, then it will be rewarded with the $20,000. If it is a LFI, then it is going to be rewarded as 20,000. So this much amount of rupees companies are providing, right? I'm not forcing all of you to start doing this particular activity, but at least start visiting such kind of a website, read the reports which has been submitted by various security researchers, and go through that, and you will realize that how your coding can be improved, and if you are doing this kind of a thing, then how this can be rewarded out, right? So for each category, right, here the prices has been given, right? It's too much, right? But there are certain other programs which will offer you around $2,000 maximum, right? Not more than that. But here this particular program is too much of an expensive, or you can say यहाँ पर आपको काफी सारे पैसे मिल रहा है, right? But don't focus onto this part as of now. Just focus onto this part, that what kind of vulnerabilities are available onto the real websites, right? By now you studied so many of the subjects, so many of the things you have studied, but when you look at the actual requirement of a market, right, actual requirement of an organization or any company, then they need expert who can find out such kind of a thing onto your web developed by you, or let's say hire you for performing this kind of an attack onto the same website, right? So these are the certain vulnerabilities which can be reported to this organization. Then again, the extended scope has been given that these are the things which you can find. Okay, scope rules, right? This is something which is very much essential to read for the one time, right? You should be always careful that whatever the thing which has been written here is strictly followed up, right? If they have written out that physical tampering with the mail.ru group sensitive data centers or offices, right, that will be out of scope. So if you allow, or let's say, for an example, this company is from the Russia, but let's say if you send someone and then he will inject the USB there, and then you will get an access to that system, that will not be reverted out, because they have already mentioned this particular thing into this guideline. So always read the guideline, that whatever the company is suggesting you or the company is providing you, right? The next says social engineering directed at the company's employees, so that should be avoided out, right? So what are the things which you cannot do, that is very much essential, right? Because जब भी हम मतलब एक ड्राइविंग लाइसेंस लेते हैं तो उस टाइम पे भी we have an idea that these are the things or these are the rules which we need to follow, and these are the rules which we don't need to follow, right? Or sorry, these are the rules कि जिसके साथ में मुझे चलना है, right? In world of an cybersecurity or in world of an internet, we don't have any license kind of techniques, and that is why people are facing this kind of a problem, right? That they are getting compromised. So you need to always read this kind of a scope rules, that what they have suggested out. Here it says that distributed network request flooding another resources, exhaustive attacks, automated scanning tool must be limited to 5 requests per second. Right? So by default, if you take, right, we discussed in morning session also that we are script kiddies. So we just simply pull the GitHub repo and then we'll submit the domain name, and then it will we will be happy that this particular thing is sending too many of a request, and we are going to get some vulnerabilities into the target domain. But that should not be the case, because if you are sending such of a data, right, such much of a data onto the server side, it will generate too much amount of a log, as well as it will be having a flood of information that server might not be able to handle, right? And ultimately it might result into the DOS attack to the particular server. So read this particular guide area, right? Whatever the company is suggesting you that follow this particular thing, then you need to follow that mandatorily. If you are ignoring this, any of this criteria, and at the end of the day you are reporting any vulnerability which you have found into that particular website, they might not give you any reward, as well as they will sue you notice that this is what you have performed onto our website, right? So always make sure कि आप ये चीजों को पढ़ लो, ठीक है? That whatever the content that has been written, that must be gone through once at least, so that you have an idea what are the things you are supposed to perform here, and what are the things you are supposed to not perform here, right? So this is the basic guidelines, right, that you need to first go through that. Any program if you select out, then you need to read this, right, guideline. हर एक program के लिए there will be a different guideline. Here it says duplicate reports. So in this world, you will find this particular word so many times, because today whatever you are reporting, that particular thing might be reported by someone else right before you. So it's a first come first serve kind of an stuff here, right? So if you are like finding let's say an access onto the website, without wasting any single minute, you should report it, because you don't know कि someone from the next part of a country can is also trying onto the same URL with the same logic of you, and he might get an access there, right? So if he is going to report first, then he is going to get the reward. So you will get a lot of duplicates into your reports, but you should not lose your hope, because duplicate, that means consider that I am onto the correct track, right? Duplicate, that means I am onto the correct track, because the thing which I have found is correct, but someone has reported before me. So you should avoid being nervous नहीं होना आपको, and then you need to keep continuing the reporting to the various different websites also, right? Invalid reports, so for that they have given a payment के लिए, like whatever the guidelines of them, that has been also written out. So everything, right, every you can say thing has been mentioned out here, So this document needs to be checked thoroughly before jumping into the website. So here onto this guide, it says scope and reward. So scope, that means which are the different domains which you can test out. So each company will be having multiple subdomains, right? So it says news.mail.ru, highchef.ru, mail.dt.mail.ru, wholesale.ru. So these are the some of the domains, right, which you can test if it is possible for finding out some kind of a vulnerability into this domain. That is going to be entertained. But if it is out of this, right, that means something written out here, right? Sorry, it's A scope, B scope. Okay, so actually here there is like a huge scope available. Looking missions, the browser, out of scope, right? So they will also mention this out of scope, right? If there is any domain which you are not supposed to touch, right, or which you are not supposed to test, that will be listed out here, right? Or whatever the standard practice or things which you cannot perform onto the live website, that has been written out here. So they says directly straight away that vulnerability scanners and other automated tools reports. So if you are running any tool and generate a report of that and then submit it to the organizer, that is this mail.ru, then that will be simply what you can say given back to you that this is not going to work, right? So everything cannot be done by tools. You need to take a manual, you need to take an help of your manual skills, your manual knowledge, and then you will be able to get into the any website or exploit any website, right? So people are saying that tool can do everything, right? So I will suggest that tool can do everything, but it has a certain limitations, and that cannot be resolved without the intervention of a human. And that's also onto the better part of ourselves, because if everything is going to be done by a human, machine, then there is no value of a human, right? So that is why we are going to earn this kind of money from finding out some bugs onto these websites, right? So these are the two websites, right, wherein you can sign up yourself and see what kind of programs are there, what kind of guidelines are there, and what are the things you can test onto the various websites, right? So just start focusing onto this direction and moving into this direction, because it's not something that you will learn over the night, right? It is not something which you will learn over the night. It will take a good amount of time to understand the stuff, how the things are working, what is the real requirement, what is the real type of bugs which are available, and what kind of logics you need to implement when you are looking for a secure product, right? So visit these two websites, right? That is, one is the bugcrowd.com and one more is on hackerone.com. Okay, here you some. So the best way to learn is HackerOne report. HackerOne provides you all the reports, or most of the reports, onto the public domain. So let's say these are some of the examples. Read out any one vulnerability and just read at least 5 reports. So you will learn various things or various new techniques or terminology which is available into the this particular field. So it says stored accesses on reports. Right? Stored accesses into the reports, and that has been rewarded by a $700. Right? That was the earning to that particular person. Right? Now, if you look at this report, right? If you look at this particular report, they have given you a summary that what is this particular vulnerabilities, what is the description of that, and then steps to reproduce. This is something very much essential thing which you need to write down properly and submit it to your target, because they are going to do the same thing onto their website, and then they will confirm that yes, whether it is working on system or not, right? So they have said that go to this app.mopub.com/report/custom. On this particular URL, click on a new network report, and when it asks you for the name, just inject this payload, right? What is this? Double quote slash and then caret bracket and the image source, right? So this payload is going to be inserted there, and when you return and save, the XSS will get triggered. The XSS will get triggered. So every time when you visit the page, this on error is equals to alert document dot domain. So the domain name, that is app.mopup.com, will get as a pop-up, right? So this is what the what you can say, the report which has been done by the particular person, right? And what will be the impact of the same, that has been also given out here. So that is been discussed here, that what will be the impact of this, right? So आज जो हमने सुबह में देखा, that was with the beef XSS. So same beef XSS payload can be typed out here, and that is going to be executed. So whenever someone is going to visit that page, the pop that beef XSS payload is going to execute, and then the person will be having an access to the information, right? So this way the XSS can harm the organization. So they have rewarded with the $700 for this particular report, right? यहाँ पर like there is no much of tech skill, or you can say in-depth knowledge of an PHP or Java or Servlet or any technology. In-depth knowledge is not required, right? That's the pretty of this particular field, right? If you have some sort of an logics or some sort of an mind to play with the some, let's say, numbers or some logics, then you can easily get this kind of reports, right? But on the other side, you need to read such kind of reports to find out that which are the different locations wherein you will be able to find out such kind of vulnerabilities, right? So for that, you need to read daily reports which has been published onto the public market, right? So this is the one of the results, or one of the example, right? Then stored XSS in create groups, that has been reverted by $2,500, right? I think, yes, again the steps are given. Log into GitLab, create a new group account, same payload, similar payload, right? Open a group to trigger the XSS, and now click onto the new project, and XSS will get triggered, right? So these are the steps, right, to reproduce. So on only 5 steps, right, the person was able to perform an XSS onto the website, right? And he has been rewarded with this huge amount of money, right? He has been rewarded with this huge amount of money, right? So that is why, like in morning session, I was telling that you can try this area for your at least for the pocket money, and on the other side, you will be learning lot much of new things which you can be like. Now, if you have an idea that here the XSS is possible, so when you develop a new website next time, you will make sure 200 times that yes, that should not be possible, or that here on this particular field the filtration is must. Whatever the input which is coming in, I need to filter out that first, so that my system will not get affected. So a kind of an activity will be always there onto your back of mind, and you will be creating a very secure code for your development purpose, right? So these are the few things, right, which you can just refer to and learn how the things are working, right? Again, stored XSS, post POC, $250, right? You see, the pricing will differ from program to program, right? Based on the company budget, based on the severity of the particular bug, right? So never like compare with the other organization, right? One we have seen with the $2,250. Here it's only $250, same stored bug only, right? That is the company's policy. But this is something, or you can say a huge amount you can consider for spending, let's say, an hour on a particular website, right? Or 2 hours on a website. So that's the basic idea to this particular HackerOne reports, right? So you should always read such kind of things onto the real websites for performing the. Okay. Okay. So. How these things can be finded out, right? Before jumping into this, So today morning we have discussed some guidelines over the CVSS, right? Same way there is VRT, right? That is vulnerability rating taxonomy, that basically talks about like what kind of an severity is there, right? So today morning we have discussed that 10 means high, right? But here in this particular case, P1 means high, that is the priority one, right? And if you just like toggle this, you'll be having something like this: P2, P3, and then P4 and P5, right? So kind of priority has been given out, right? So as per the name or as per the simple logic, right, we always ensure that P1 will be highest priority. So here you will get a maximum reward, wherein here you will get minimum reward because it's a P5, right? Because it's a P5. But still it depends on the company key on which you are going to report the bug, right? On which particular company we are going to report the bug. So let's have a look from this basic one, right? That is P5 automotive security misconfiguration RF hub, right? So these are the some for the IoT devices. Let me just step checking, right, which is part of your mobile application. SSL certificate pinning, that is going to be considered as an P5. So yeah, these are the vulnerabilities, right? You might never heard of such kind of words, right? But you come across, let's say you have designed an SSL based mobile application wherein the API is going to talk for the data with the server onto the SSL based connection, right? So if there is any kind of a possibility to bypass an SSL certificate or SSL certificate pinning is possible, then that is going to be considered under the P5. So if the organization is putting at a moderate level, right, they will reject this, or you can say they will mark it as an information, or they will give you the points. Let's say 10 points or 5 points or 20 points has been given out. But if the organization is good, in that scenario, they will give you, let's say, $50, right? So just you need to ensure that whether the SSL certificate pinning is possible or not. If yes, just go away, straight away go to that particular website of that particular organization and report it that in your application SSL certificate pinning is possible, right? Now, what is the harmness or what is the severity if this particular thing is possible? So you are already aware, okay, if you have an SSL, why we implement an SSL? Because we need to protect our data which is floating over the network, right? जो आपका data network के अंदर में transmit होने जा रहा है, we need to encrypt that first and then we need to send to the server, so that anyone who is sitting into the network who is using the Wireshark will not be able to get the data into the plain text mode. So if you are able to, or if this particular application is vulnerable to an SSL certificate pinning, then one can easily do an SSL certificate pinning, and then he'll be able to retrieve whatever the data which is going from the mobile phone. So he'll be able to do various testing onto your APIs. Okay? So you need to ensure that whether you are providing any enough security for the SSL pinning or not, right? Then if you just like this, all these things are for both mobile application, for your web application, as well as for the IoT devices. So this will fall on under for 3 categories, right? So you need to find out your according things from here. Let's say if you are testing for a web application, then you need to find the bugs which is related to the what do you say, mobile phone, sorry, web. If you are finding a bugs for a web application, then you need to find what are the vulnerabilities available related to the web, and what are the vulnerabilities related to the mobile, what are the related to the IoT devices. So you need to follow that approach, and then you will be able to find such kind of vulnerabilities. So if you look at this, let me just go to this P5, P4. So I've typed up a failure, right? And with that, it has given me two things here. That failure to invalidate a session, right? Failure to invalidate a session. On logout, client and server side. And second option is given as an on password reset or change. Now, if we discuss this particular thing, right? Then let's say if there is a website called as an abc.com, right? I have a login, right? I have a login. Let me just keep writing this so that you can understand it. Okay. So I have a login here, right? That is with the, let's say, username as an priyank@gmail.com. My password is, let's say, abcd@123. Username and password. Now, from the browser A, right, which might be, let's say, Chrome or any other you can take out, or even you can take out the incognito mode also for the testing purposes in order to avoid the confusion. Using these two browsers for the particular case, right? So it says a failure to invalidate a session on password reset and or change. So when you visit any website, right, what are the usual options available with that particular website? Be it your e-commerce website, be it your shopping cart, or be it your share market, be it your OVX and registration, or any website, right, or any mobile application. When you visit, the standard, or you can say the functions are available is login, sign up, and forgot password. Consider these parameters as in the heart of an application, because these are some default applications or default things which we need to implement on any of the website, right? The sign up can be optional, but rest of the things will be always there in any website, right, or any web application wherein the login page is there, right? So that is we are sure on that part. So let's say we are logging, we are firstly signing up, right? Firstly signing up to the website. We have signed up with this information and given up that password also, right? Let's say two times verification and all. We have given up the password, that is abcd@123. Now, what things you can try here is the login form, right? Wherein you can try the SQL injection, whether without the username and password that thing is going to be allowed or not. Onto the sign up page, you have already done the sign up. If you are trying to have a forgot password, right? On forgot password page, forgot password, will ask you for an email address, right? So again, you will give that priyank@gmail.com. Now, this particular email address, you will receive one link, right? You will receive one link or a short code. Let's say a 1234, one OTP will be delivered, which will be valid for a smaller time duration, right? Or else the link will be delivered out. Now, if this two things has been happened, right? Either the number has been delivered or the link has been delivered to your ईमेल एड्रेस, रजिस्टर्ड ईमेल एड्रेस पे आपके पास में दोनों में से कोई एक चीज आपको मिली है. Now your session is running onto the browser A as well as browser B. Now your session is running onto the browser A as well as onto the browser B. Now consider a scenario wherein you have application, let's say we have one ERP at your university, right? You have an ERP at your university. So you are into the, let's say, a lab of first floor, right? Wherein you are sitting and doing your project work there. You have logged into your ERP, right? That is considering as a browser A, right? That is considered. You logged into that particular ERP of your university from the system of first floor lab, right? suddenly you got a call from one of your faculty or one of your student, and he called you that just come downstairs and we need to go for some discussion, right? So you went out and you haven't pressed up a logout button here, right? You have missed to press a logout button here. Now after 5 minutes you realize that I have been like forget to log out my system from the targeted system, that is the browser A, right? Browser A के अंदर में left वाली जो system थी उसके अंदर से you were realize that I haven't logged out. So what you will do, you will go to your, let's say, a mobile phone, log into your ERP again, right, and go for the change password. That so that someone who is going to sit onto this particular computer will not be able to access your account, right? That is what we usually do, because we know ki, like, I have changed my password, now what can be done, right? So that is why what I will do, I will go to my mobile, right, or you can say it as a browser B, right? I will change the mobile, I will change my password from that. So I will ensure that my system has been safe now, right? Because I have already changed my password and it will not get affected onto the any other way. But if the server or the web developer who has developed this particular thing has not taken into the consideration this particular scenario, then what will happen? Onto the browser E, it will allow the user for, let's say, next 50 minutes, or let's say for next 1 day, wherein your session has not been expired. So whatever the session duration which has been applied to the particular login, right, the login will remain same onto the browser A. So anyone who is going to sit and try onto the browser A will be able to log into your system, and he will be able to manipulate the stuff, right? So these are the things which can be tried or tested, right? So यहाँ पर कोई मतलब ज़्यादा logic नहीं है, right? This you can try out on any website. Let's say यहाँ पर एक, like, I have opened this one website. Here I have a login page, right? I just need to open up one more browser, right, which is an incognito mode, and then I need to try here that, let's say, if I change a password here, what is the effect which is being done onto this particular browser? If it is allowed to be keep remain as a logged in, or it will kick me out from the particular session, right? So this is what the a basic test, right, which you can try onto the any website, right? So let me again come back to the okay. So here I guess this scenario is clear with you, right? Browser A was your lab system, right? And from the browser B, which is your mobile phone, you changed up a password. Ideally, what should be done? That the browser A should kick out that particular user immediately as soon as the password is being changed, right? As soon as the password is being changed. Now, this is the one scenario where we have seen for the change password case. Same thing, same thing, right? And same scenario wherein we click onto the forget password. On click of event, or on click of let's say when I click onto the forget password, it will again send me some token, right? It will again send me a token or an OTP on my mobile number, that this is what the thing which you are supposed to type out, and then it will redirect me to the change password page. Or else, if it is a properly, like a improper configuration, then I will be getting my password in my email box, that this is what your password is, and you can log into the system again, right? So these are the different things which you can test out onto the initial, right? जब आपके पास में कुछ भी आप नहीं है, right? There is no additional skill is required for this particular thing. Only your mindset is required, which you need to train from reading the reports. That's the only key to get success into this particular area, right? You need to come through or go through the various scenarios, right? Various examples, that what if such kind of a thing, what if such kind of a thing, and then at the end of the day, you'll be learning a lot much of techniques which you can try onto the real websites, right? So This field is something like in maths, right? Wherein we usually consider maths as a boring, right? Because we need to do various stuffs there, right? And most of the students avoid that particular subject. But if you do a practice here, right? Here only the way to success is the practice, right? You need to read the reports and do a same kind of a thing onto the various locations, and then you'll be able to find such kind of a thing. Okay, so ये एक example था, that was a small example onto the failure to invalidate session, right? Failure to invalidate session, and that is under the P4. Even if it is a normal company, right? Even if it is a normal company, and you are going to report this for the first time, it is going to charge $100. Sorry, $100, right? Not rupees. It will be around 7300 something, right? Because of the fluctuation into the rate of dollars, right? But it will be around 7,500 something, right? So that is the small thing which you can just simply report it to the organization, and you will earn that much amount of money, right? So that's the very basic thing which I even highlight here, right? That's to failure to invalidate session. Again, there are various things ki jahan pe you can also see what is the what should be the ideal or standard practice that the organization or the developer needs to follow it along, right? So let's say on email change, right? Same way, right? Nowadays the various applications provide you to have a facility of email change, right? Wherein you'll be able to change your email address. So at that particular moment also you need to see whether the session is being failed or not, right? Or on 2FA activation or a change, two-factor authentication, right? Let's say same example, right? ERP is having two-factor authentication. Now you come to know that your two-factor authentication has been known to someone else, right? And if you are changing that, right, what is the impact which is being done onto the browser A, right? So that particular moment also you can report to this P4 or sorry P5, that is the failure to invalidate a session, right? So these are the certain bugs, right, which you can these are the certain vulnerabilities which you can refer to the report to the specific organization. Okay. Let me now go to this right again. So you come across various websites, right? Various websites daily basis. Swiggy पे जाते हो, you go to the Uber Eats, you go to the some newly launched application, you go for redemption of any voucher, or you go for, let's say, any promotional messages, or let's say the advertisement which has come into your browser. So we usually go through the various websites, right? So what are the things which you can try over there, right? So as I already told you that these are the few stuffs, right, which is the considered as an heart of an application, right? There is login, sign up, forgot password and change password. ये option तो आपको सब जगह पर, मतलब every website will have this kind of facility, and on this particular location only you are supposed to perform the various steps, right? Only onto this particular location you are supposed to check various things, right? So what are the things which you can see there particularly, right? So here is an example. Let's say first it says that login form over an HTTP. So if the website is taking the input over the HTTP, that is vulnerable, because we are already aware that HTTP transmission can be intercepted by a network person, right? So that is the one very first thing, right, that you need to observe. Just right, simply what you need to do is again, let's say this website, right, bigpay.com. I will copy this login URL, right, and instead of this HTTPS, I'll be putting this HTTP and see whether it allows me to log in or not. Right? So see that has been redirected to the HTTPS, right? Otherwise, if it has been walked onto the HTTP, then that can be reported to this particular organization, right? So here it says as an HTTPS now, so that means it's secure, right? So let's move to the next, right? Because there is no way कि आपको एक वेबसाइट पे सारी चीजें मिल जाएगी. So you need to go through the checklist, right? Whether this particular thing is available or not, whether this particular thing is available or not, whether this is available or not. So likewise, you will check for each particular cases onto the website. So let's say this is saying that weak password policy, wherein you can check for this particular thing or the which location. There is a change password at the time of a sign up and a reset password. Now, what do you mean by this weak password policy first, right? So weak password policy, that means if you are, or if the application is allow you to sign up. This is one is the login page. Let me go to the sign up. Okay, so it is asking for the first name, last name, email, and a password, right? So here, if I type only one, right? If I type only one, or let's say 123, only 3 characters has been written out. And if the system is going to allow me that yes, your account has been created out, then that is going to be considered as a weak password policy, which means that you are not maintaining some standard guideline which has been given by a NIST, or let's say for a standard practice, right? Key that should be avoided, that you should not allow the user to set up a password for a single character. The password length should be 8 characters, right? Today you are also going to see one of the demonstration wherein you will see how to brute force onto the various things, right? So at that particular moment, you just like realize that if the password is of 1 character, right? If the person has set up a password of 1 character, anyone will be able to guess that password with the, let's say, 26 character and then the your 10 numbers, right? So with the 36 attempt, your password will be cracked by a person, right? So with that, you will be understanding that these are the things which you can like easily get into the system. So which are the different location wherein you can try for such kind of an scenario? So the one I have suggested or to see is at the time of an sign up, right? So that we have already seen कि यहाँ पर अगर आप sign up के time पे, if it is going to allow you for a single character, then that is going to be a vulnerable as a weak password policy. Here your logic is checking for the password length, right? Here your server is checking for the password length, or else you are showing this kind of a bar here, and then it is ensuring that the password is safe. What if here you have tested that, right? Onto the next instance or next scenario, that is onto the change password. So change password, you will be again having some different query, that different page. So on that particular page, you haven't mentioned that query, assuming that the user has already set 8 digit of a password earlier, right? Because of the your preventive mechanism. So now the user will set up the same password, right? Or he will choose a password of an 8 characters only. So here you are not doing a validation, so that the person will be able to set up a password for a single character, right? So this is the one of the location. And third one is the reset password, because onto the reset password also, when you click onto the reset password link, it will redirect you to the page wherein you will be able to let's say it will simply ask you that type out your new password, right? Type out your new password, and then you will be typing, let's say, 1, and it is also going to be taken as an accept, because you are not again validating the inputs over that particular field, right? So that is why this particular 3 locations which you can test out, right? Or this will be available in any website, right? Agree on that part, because there is no website all the websites will be having a login page, right? And that login page particularly can be affected by this particular vulnerabilities, right? So that can be tested onto that all these 3 locations. Then a long password string, right? So assuming that you have, let's say, a password field which has been given to user, right? Which has been given to a user. Here you are typing out your entire dissertation thesis, right? You are pasting out your entire dissertation thesis here, and then submit it to the server. So if there is no any validation which has been applied that it is going to limit, let's say, this many of a character, in that scenario your application server will get crashed, because it is not used to handle such kind of a large traffic, right? It is not used to or configured to handle such kind of a large traffic. So you need to ensure that it should not accept X number of requests, right? Because if it is having a large amount of data which has been imported by user by mistake, right, then the application server will entirely get into the crash, right? So always make sure that the validation has been also applied onto this particular part onto there when you are taking the inputs from the user, right? So that is the one thing which is being considered as an application level device. Then verification link over a HTTP or sensitive token disclosure, account verification and reset password. So what do you mean by this verification link over the HTTP? When you sign up for any website, right, or when you sign up for any website, you will be getting one token link, right? That says that click onto this particular link and your get your account activated. So at that particular moment, right, if the token is being delivered over the HTTP, again it can be intercepted by a network and someone will be able to read that token and get into the system, right? So that should also be delivered into the HTTP as HTTP as. Next says a sensitive token disclosure, right? So because it was delivered over the HTTP, right? As it was being delivered over the HTTP, it is able to directly get the information into the plain text mode, right? So let me just I'll be showing you some example on that part. Just a minute. I'm logged into the system. Okay. So you must have used some of the product of Bitnami, right? In your XAMPP or system, right? Which has been utilized for various kind of an activity, right? So I have requested this Bitnami to reset my password. I have requested this Bitnami to reset my password. Now on request of that, they have sent up me this email, right? On request of that, they have sent up me this email. Now, if you look at this change password button, right here, what usually as a developer we do, we link up this particular button as an href, right? As an href, wherein your href will lead you to the next page. Now, if you hold this cursor over this change password, here you will see, right, into this bottom corner, you will see what is the URL which is going out, right? So if I go to this location, it says email.bitnami.com. If it is an HTTPS based website, here the URL will be https://email.bitnami.com. That means the website is accepting the traffic as the HTTP, right? So from here, whatever the traffic or whatever the token which is going to be initiated is going to be delivered over the HTTP. Now let me just confirm this. So I'll be copying this link, right click, copy link, go to your notepad and just paste it. Okay, so here you can see http://email.bitnami.com, and this is something you can say it as a token, right? Because with this only the server is going to differentiate yourself that who is this particular user who is visiting, right? So it's an encoded or an encrypted token, right? But at least that has been disclosed to the all the network users which are available into the my network, right? As of now, right? So this is what an example of an token delivering onto the HTTP or onto the plain text mode, right? This is for the change password. many a times for a verifying account also it comes into the verify password, right, or so verify your email address. For that also they deliver such kind of a button over the HTTP. So on this both the location you can check for the data to be whatever kind of data is being transmitted out, right? Account verification as well as the reset password, right? Now next is verification link pattern, and check if the token only contains the encoded value MD5 SHA of email address or a mobile number. So we usually as a developer what we apply a logic here is, if the person is being delivered a token, right, if the person is being delivered a token, let's say abc.com developer, right, so I will put this website as on a verify page, right, and then I will token is equals to, let's say, something, my mobile number, let's say. So if I click onto this particular link, it will mark my database, or there will be a database bit which is going to be set from 0 to, let's say, 1, right, from 0 to 1. Many of the students here will be recalling their technique, right? If they have developed any kind of an application, they must be recalling that what logic they have used. So they might have used such kind of a logic wherein the only mobile number has been passed, and if the number is coming out here, we are simply putting the 0 to the 1 bit, right? And hence we are saying that the number has been verified. Now what if I have given up your number here instead of my mobile number, I am giving you the number of yours, then your account will also get verified, right? So a kind of an activity can be performed from the token, right? Because the token is something which is sensitive, or you can say this is the only way to verify that the person is sharing the legitimate email address with you or legitimate mobile number with you. If there is a problem with this number, right, or the concept of whatever the logic which you are using for this particular thing has been leaked into the market, anyone will be able to run or log in with the anyone's mobile number, right? So that is why you need to ensure that this token is not decryptable easily, right? It should be added with some salt, it should be some added with the some of the techniques, right, which will prevent yourself for getting compromised, right? Now let's say you are aware of the MD5 and SHA-512. If you use this, right, if you use this 8866888181, right, this is your mobile number that you are aware, right? Just keep your mobile numbers rated, or the MD5 or SHA-5 which has been written. Let's say, let me just okay. Sorry, it is asking me for a hash. I need to find out some keywords. Let me just some of you, right, have used some kind of a technique that is base64, let's say, right? You are passing the values into the base64. So now this is going to be your token, right? And this is how you are going to deliver to your client, that is your user, in their email box. So it is identical, you can say it is being identified that whether if it is encoded as a base64, I will straight away go to this kind of software and decode this as let's say base64, and I will have a plain text value. So let's say if I have some more number here, let's say 82 or your mobile number, I will again decode this as a base64, encode as a base64, and whatever the value has been received, I will be putting this instead of the number which I have transmitted out. So basically the concept is you need to ensure that whatever the parameter which you are passing, that should not be easily decryptable by a user. Right, that is the tips onto your secure coding part also, as well as for the security testing also. Right, so you need to ensure that what kind of a token is being delivered out. Right, so these are the few things which we have already seen. Right, then verification link timeout. We receive an email, right, that says click onto the following link and you will be get into the system by next like let's say you need to click onto that system link, and then you will be logged into the targeted system. That means आपका login हो गया and आपका account that has been verified. Now, if the link is not going to expire, let's say after 1 year, if even if I visit that particular website with the same link, I'll be directly able to get into the system logged in, right? That is something dangerous, right? So that should have some timeout, right? Additionally, when you are checking for password change, right? Let's say reset password link you have clicked up, right? I have received one email for resetting my password also, but if the system, right, if the system is not destroying the token after the changing of a password, let's say I have clicked into this change password button, I have set up a password once, right? Now again I am setting up a new password here, right, and changing, click onto the change my password, and if the token is going to be taken as a valid, that means कि वो lifetime आपके पास में एक ही token आ रहा है, and that means that is something dangerous, right? So that is why always on each request you need to generate a new token for your each request, right? And once the token has been used, it should get destroyed. It is something like the injection, because like nowadays we are looking for a vaccination, right? So same way we need to like on one dose, right, or on the single use, we need to destroy that injection so that the infection cannot be spreaded to the someone else, right? So that is something same logic has been also applied over here. Okay. Failure to invalidate a session on a password change, reset, or email change, right, that we already discussed, right? So I'm skipping that. Allow the disposal email address. So disposal email address, I guess you are aware. Let me just show you that one of the website, that is 10-minute email. Sorry, 10-minute mail, right? So there are a number of websites which provides you a disposal email address. So a kind of an like you need to do an OTP verification from your mobile, this email address. Just give this email address to the company or the sign up form. You will get the whatever the email which is going to be delivered to that particular email address will be available here. But the lifespan of this email is only 10 minutes. So after a 10 minutes, this email is going to be destroyed out, right? So you need to also ensure that there is no such a person who has used such kind of an email address for getting into your system. Allow the disposal email address weak registration implementation, right? So that is the considered into this particular criteria. Log out and check with the back button, right? So if you have any application, right, or you have designed any application, just log into your application, click onto the logout, and again press a back button, right? Again press a back button, and then see if the system is going to take you to the home page of your website, then that is going to be considered the alert, right? So that you need to ensure that your system is taking preventive actions against that, right? And it is destroying the session completely. It is destroying the session completely, right? So that's for this, right? Okay. Then SMS and email OTP verification bypass, right? Let me just now let's move to the websites. Hope everyone is aware with this tool, right? Bubshoot. Bubshoot is basically software which allows you to intercept the traffic and manipulate the traffic and then forward it to the server. So basically what we are going to do now is we'll be intercepting the traffic first, right? Whatever the request which is going from this browser, we'll be intercepting that, we'll be modifying something, and then we are going to send that to the server. So the entire idea which we are going to do here. Okay, so here I got something that says me to write my first name, last name, email, and password. So very first thing you can try out here is H1, which is usually a HTML tag. So if there is any HTML injection possibility, right, into this particular website, if you are typing this, then it should come up as an HTML code executed. Then you can claim that as an HTML injection is possible onto the website. So let me just copy this, paste again onto the last name also. Let me give any random email here, right? Not a random because it's going to send me a link. A small trick here for utilizing the Gmail. If you add a plus sign, right? If you add, this is what my email address is usually, right? But instead of that, if I use a plus sign here, it will be delivered on my account. So plus sign, like anything after the plus sign, is going to be ignored. So let's say if I use Priyank123, Priyank tester Priyank plus 123, then also the email is going to be delivered to the tester Priyank@gmail.com. But as a developer or as a very like this particular website, BitPay, they will only consider this as a request to that website as a unique number, right? So they will allow me to create an email account with the 123, 124, 125, 126, whatever it is, right? So it will allow me to create an account here, and with the single email address, I will be able to do that. Okay, now let me just use some passwords here, right? So it says a weak password, so I need to change something here. So let me use some strong password. So now it says it's a strong password, right? But you might have observed this behavior that it's being validated onto the browser side only, right? It's only being validated onto the browser side. It's not performing the stuff onto the server side. So I will click onto the I agree. I am not a robot, right? And I need to turn on this interception. Okay. Went into the loop, so I guess last try, otherwise we'll skip this. So basically, so I'll be turning on interception an account. So as soon as I clicked on the create an account, it has sent me a request over this particular page, right? It has sent up a request over here, right? Let me just see this domain is google.com. I am forwarding that google.com, 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 google.com. Analytical data is being collected, right? So we are not interested into that. So we are simply forwarding this request list. Yes, we are interested into this BitPay, right? Whatever the data which is going to the BitPay, we are interested into that. So tester Priyank plus 125 is our interested, what you can say, data. So I have written up a Priyank here so that okay. So forward. Yes, here you can see my email address is going out right from here, this particular website. Now the password is also available here. Now this hash is telling me that this is what my password is, right? This is what my password which I have set up. Let's say it was ABCD other 1234. Now if I have an idea that this is let's say SHA 512, what I will do, I will create a SHA of only one character, that is password as in a one, right? And create a hash of that and replace out here. And then if I go and ask the website to save that particular password, then what is the meaning of this particular thing? That means the client side validation is playing nothing, or there is no role of client side validation, so that you can easily able to bypass that particular stuff, right? Because of the such kind of tools which are available over the public domain, right? So the bug shoot will allow you to intercept the traffic, modify the traffic, and then forward it to the server. Now let's say if I want to remove this password, right? If I simply remove this password, then also it is going to be delivered to the server, right? That whatever the content is, right? It might be possible that my password will get set as a blank password, right? If there is no proper validation has been applied onto the server, right? So these are the some certain things, right, which you should take care when you are developing such kind of websites, right? So let me just forward this all the traffic. Okay, account creation has been failed because of the timeout of the events, right? So my entire idea or my entire aim was to show you that how you can intercept the traffic and then manipulate the traffic before it delivers to the system, right? Due to the lack of the time, right, I'll be skipping this, right? Let me just quickly discuss onto the one thing which has been already written out here. There is an send an email OTP verification bypass, right? So you might have received or you might have seen that if you send a OTP, right? Let's say this Covini only, right? Covini. Or any website, right? Let me avoid the live websites. Okay, any website if you go, right, and then just click onto the sign up page, right, mobile number, enter your mobile number, and then it will ask you that the OTP will be delivered onto your mobile number. Just try to intercept the traffic or the response, right? यहाँ पर आपके पास में will be having an option to intercept the response also. Okay, this is the request which has been sent. I'll be right clicking on that and saying that do intercept response to this request. So the whatever the response which is coming from the server is also going to show onto this particular software, right? That is onto the Burp Suite. So if I just click, I'm clicking onto the forward, but on one instance I will get response here. So yes. So this is what the response which has been received by this analytics.google.com, which we have received, right? So here it might be possible that due to lack of a proper coding, you will get something like this: OTP is equals to 1234, right? Or let's say verified OTP, something like that, right? So you can manipulate this particular stuff from the curve itself and then see what is the behavior of your website, right? So these are the certain tricks or tips which you can try onto the websites, right? Very basic stuff, right? Already मतलब दिन भर में you must be signing up into the at least one website daily, right? So you can check for this kind of things onto that website and see whether you are able to get some vulnerability onto that particular system or not, right? So that's the an introduction to the bug bounties stuff, right? Let me. Okay. So before I move to the next content, right? If there is any kind of a question, then we can discuss, because I need to start my one of the VM, which will take at least next 2 to 3 minutes. Anyone having any question, then we can take a question here. Ritesh sir, any question? Like I guess you have answered many questions, but if there is anything which any participant want to, I think Neeraj Dubey sir.
Yes, Neeraj sir.
Okay.
Okay.
Priyank sir, the session is going on, in a very dynamic manner, sir. You are really wonderful. You are really awesome. I must
Thank you, sir.
Extend my compliment.
Thank you, sir.
You can say in a full heart way, right? God bless you.
Thank you, sir.
I just install Shellfish.
Right.
Now, how to do? You just guide me how to proceed further.
Okay, like you
My
have downloaded
Shellfish, I have downloaded and extracted my desktop.
Right. So now you need to give a permission to that particular folder, right? Let me just show you something here. You need to type first cd shellfish, right? So you will be entered into the shellfish folder.
When I am writing cd, it can no such file or directory. It is giving me the message.
You run that git clone command.
Pardon?
You run this git clone command. Let me just share this command over the chat box itself.
Neeraj sir? Neeraj
Okay.
Sir.
Actually, I have downloaded it simply from net, sir.
Neeraj sir.
So
Okay.
Yeah, if you have any questions, then you can ask. Otherwise, this kind of tutorial, if all the participants will be starting, that will be difficult. Yeah, to complete the session on time. If you have any technical question, then you can ask, please.
Okay.
You just follow this step, right? This git clone, and then it will be done, right? And you'll get the guide onto the same page also itself.
Okay. So nice, sir.
Yes. So thank you, sir. Okay, so yes, so we are already running delayed, right? But let me just before that system is getting started. So as I have told you that we'll be discussing onto the SIEM tools, right? We have from morning we are discussing that there are various kinds of attacks which are going on, and various stuffs are into the dangerous, right? Or all the stuffs are under the threats. So how this can be resolved, or what kind of an data is going to be gained from the particular tools. So there is a SIEM, right? That has been shortened as a security information and event management, wherein all the information, right, which is floating around your, be it your switch, be it your server, be it your web server, be it your application server, be it your database server, everywhere we will be putting this agent, so that it will keep collecting all the logs which is coming from these systems. So by the log analysis, or by this incident which has been happened, we'll be able to do or track what kind of an event or what kind of an attack was that, right? Or from where particularly, which particular system has been compromised. So this SIEM is the one of the, you must have heard of the SOC, right? Security Operations Center. Okay, so security information management, right? Long-term log management, because we need to we cannot keep only one 1 day or 1 week log and then derive any conclusion out of that. We need to have a data of, let's say, at least 30 days, and then we'll realize that yes, there is something anomaly which is going on onto the network, right? So from that we'll be able to understand that whether there is any kind of an attack which has been happened or not, right? So security information and event management, security information management, as well as security event management plus real-time monitoring. So as you have a past data and you have a current data also, right, which is going on a real-time basis, then comparing with this both the data, you will conclude that yes, there is some spike which has been received in my network requests, right? So a kind of an activity can be performed or that people are using onto the backend side. So let's say today I have shown you the demonstration of some of the website, right, where we will be doing a brute force. So that brute forcing will trigger a query onto that SIEM panel that there is some brute force which is going on onto this particular web server. So please go to that incident and fix that particular stuff, right? So either I can block that particular IP address, or I can shut down that system, or whatever the step which I'm supposed to do that I can take out, right? So that is for your SIEM, right? That is on the entire brief of your SIEM. Now this SIEM, how this can be worked, right? So the very first thing is data aggregation, wherein you need to have an exhaustive, comprehensive and consolidated centralization of logs. So you might have, let's say, 10 server or 15 servers at your premises. You need to get all the data of all the systems at the single place, right? Wherein you will be analyzing those logs. Because if it is onto the independent system, you cannot go and sit and onto the system and see what is the status going on. So you need to have a data onto the single place wherein you will be analyzing those stuff. Correlation, event linking through the common attributes in order to extract the meaning from a raw data. Now, let's say if you have a firewall installed into your premises, your end computer is preventing your browser for visiting, let's say, XYZ website, then the log of your system plus log of your firewall plus log of your AD server is going to help me to trace out the entire activity. So only of a single system's log cannot be much helpful. So if I can correlate this data, if I can club all this data to under the same tree, then it is going to be helpful for me. So this particular tool, SIEM tool, is going to provide you that particular facility wherein you will be able to collect all the data under the same roof, right? Then alerting. So if it has been automatic analysis, right, and let's say you have already fed up n number of rules into your system, a system by default itself will throw you an alert that, let's say, there is a brute force going on, or let's say there is an Nmap scan going on, or let's say there is someone who is trying to send a request onto the port number 22, right? So kind of an alerts can be generated, and which basically draws your attention towards the fixing of the same, right? Dashboards, so centralized high level overview of the data. So basically it will convert the whatever the import, whatever the logs which has been received into the graphical manner, so that you can take a decision quickly as well as easily, right? So that is what the function of dashboards. Compliances, so each organization is supposed to follow some compliance, right? So as in morning session someone has asked a question and they are following some HIPAA compliance, right, or GDPR. So in that scenario they need to publish reports on a timely basis. So whatever the activity which has been done, or which has been carried out by this particular tools, that needs to be shown to them, so that they have an idea that yes, the people are taking out an action into that, right? Retention of a data due to the compliance requirement and or for a long-term analysis. So as we'll be seeing that the system is taking a log, right? So and live website web server who is having a traffic of, let's say, every day 500 users are visiting that website, it will have a huge amount of data. Now you need to think for the data storage as well as the data retention period. Let's say if the compliance tell you that you need to put your data for 1 year, and if every day you are generating a 5 GB of a file, then 5 GB into 365 GB, right? 365 days, that is what your data size is going to be ultimately. So in that regard, your data size will keep increasing daily basis. So you need to work around such a way that you will fulfill your storage requirement as well as your retention period, right? Because it should not happen that you are generating a log of, let's say, 100 GB daily, and you need to store it for a 365 day. So 100 GB into 365 days, you can imagine what size of the data is going to be with you, right? So with such a huge data, you might not be able to perform the analysis also, as well as you cannot do proper storage of that, right? So before generating the logs and like what kind of parameters needs to be there that you need to analyze. And at last, forensic analysis. So anything which has been happened over the network, you will be able to do that forensic analysis with the help of this particular tool, right? Wherein you will be able to, let's say, correlate the stuff or whatever the information has been passed, or what IP address was involved, who was the sender, who was the receiver, who has clicked onto that email, right? Everything is going to be logged by this logs, right? So you can jump into that, and then you can analyze that whatever the thing has been happened there. Which event do we correlate, right? So we need to correlate various things, right? So the very first thing is logs. So all the logs, आपके system में अगर आप देखोगे, then Windows is also generating logs, right? Event logs. So if you just go to that, you will be having n number of logs which have been generated out. So every day your system keeps generating a huge amount of a log, which you need to you can say store and then do a proper analysis of that. Scan results. So any scan results, that is, let's say, file integrity checking, registry keys, integrity checking, signature-based malware or antivirus software logs, threat detection techniques, all of this are going to be dumped into the single platform, so that you can just correlate the stuff and then come to a conclusion that what kind of an incident was that and how this particular system has got affected out. So these are the various tools or products which are available in market, which takes care of all this stuff, right? So some of them are a paid version, and some of them are the open source available, or with some limitations, trial versions are available, right? So today I will be showing some basic demo to the Wazoo, right, which we'll discuss, right? And the rest of the tools are available, which we can configure it and use it for the exploration of this particular area, right? So how this particular things are working. So all your nodes, right? All your nodes are going to collect the data, right? To generate the logs. It will be given to the log stage, right? Which will basically, log stage is nothing but it ingests the transform and the stages, right? So आपके पास में whatever the logs which you are going to come to your system, that will be deployed into this, and then Elasticsearch will be a RESTful search engine, which basically used for exploring the whatever the data which has been stored onto the targeted system, right? So from the database or from the HFS, right, which is basically going to be your big data, right? From that particular thing, it will try to fetch all the data, and at last the Kibana is going to visualize the whatever the data which you have received out. So this is an entire process which is going to be followed out. Okay, so open source tools, right? Logstash, Elasticsearch, Kibana, and Bits. These are the free to use, but with the certain limitations. So that's the few things which you can utilize. But however, for a small organization, that can work without any kind of a problem, right? And proprietary plugins which you can utilize this for machine learning. There are pre-loaded plugins available which you can utilize and train your model over your data, over your company's information, how your company is working, right? So based on that, there are plugins available which you can utilize, right? And those who are working into this particular area, you can explore what kind of logs are coming in and how this particular thing can be helpful for your next purpose, right? Okay. How the logs are being passed, right? How the logs are being passed. So we'll see how each and every logs, right? There will be like that is coming or generated out that needs to be passed to the system. So let's say if it is being delivered to the 127001, then what is the location for, right? Or where the particular log has been stored out. So we need to configure onto our website or onto the web server as an agent, right? So we call it as an agent, wherein the agent is responsible for delivering the whatever the log which has been generated to the target or to the server. So let me just, okay. So here is the example of a log, right, which says that this is the IP address, something which has not been retrieved. This is what the timestamp. Post request was done. WP admin, which is the WordPress based website, and admin ajax.php was called. Status code was 200. This is what the something website name, right? And Mozilla was the agent, right? So this is what the log which tells us, right? कि इस टाइम पे इस पर्टिकुलर आईपी एड्रेस के ऊपर से ये एक्टिविटी आपकी वेबसाइट के ऊपर दैट हैज बीन परफॉर्म्ड, राइट? One more screenshot, right? I think it's a bit smaller, but let me just stretch it out. Yes, the IP address has been given, right? Date stamp, phpMyAdmin index.php page has been called up. MySQL web.index.php, administrator PMA, MySQLDB, admin web index.php. And if you look at this timestamp, it was done at 5:10:01, 5:10:02, 5:10:03, 5:10:04. That means on each second, I am getting a request to my web server. On each second, I am getting a request to my web server. Now, it's really hard to handle this kind of a traffic, right? To see that if there is any kind of a search is going on, right? Because what you can see is the IP address is same for all this. It says 34.116.184.191. That means all this particular IP address or this particular IP address, single IP address is scanning my web server for possibility of this locations. So they might be using some tool called as a WebFuzz, right, or DR Buster or Go Buster. These are some of the tools which is being used for directory scanning or a web page scanning. So they must be doing such kind of an activity from their system. So what I can do is I can straight away go and block this particular IP address on my firewall, so that any request which is coming to my web server will get blocked, and hence I'll be able to secure my website. And let's say if it is a DOS attack, right, DOS attack onto my website, then how this can be prevented out? Let's say if there are 5 times 404, right, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So I will be doing a loop here that if consecutively 5 pages which has been requested by any website, right, or any IP address, that needs to be blocked. So I will write my rule accordingly, and my firewall will work accordingly, that if the 5 consecutive 404 has been received, the IP address is going to be marked as a blacklisted. And if I want to make more dynamic that particular stuff, then I can also add that within the 10 seconds, if I have got the 5 requests, then I will block that particular IP address, right? So kind of an different logics you can implement, or rules you can create into this SIEM tools, right? Which we are going to see, right? So okay, so when you inject this data, all the data is going to be available with your system. Let me just now directly go to this. Shit. Will again take a few seconds to time start, right? So here is the website, official website of the wazoo.com, right? And it has all the documentation available with the very pretty manner. So those who are interested can just go through this content, and they will be easily able to understand the stuff. So if the key highlights of this particular tool is security analytics, right? Intrusion detection, log analysis, file integrity monitoring, vulnerability detection, configuration of the assessment, right? Whatever the assessment you want to perform with this, right? Incident response. So if there is any incident which has been happened, you can analyze that, right? Regulatory compliances, cloud security monitoring, and container security, right? So all of this can be possible with the help of a single tool, right? But just the thing is you need to configure it on a proper manner, right? So if you go to this deployment part, you will be having a provision to download a virtual machine OVA, right? So just for a learning purpose, you can download this OVA, which is coming as a pre-installed, right? So you just need to import this VM machine, and you'll be able to do that stuff onto the system. The system has been started. Let me just see. Default username and password is root, and Wazoo is the default username and password is let's wait for a couple of minutes. Okay, Pritesh sir, any question is there, then we can take it out, because I have a one more session at somewhere else.
Yeah.
So if anyone is having any question,
you can raise your hand to ask the question. We'll be unmuting one by one participants. Participants, if you have any questions, kindly raise your hand so we can unmute you. I think no questions from the audience or participant. Yeah.
I hope that everyone was listening, right?
Yeah, Akshay, I think one participant, Akshay.
Yes, sir. Actually, I'm totally confused with the previous video and this, like, what is happening? Like, I didn't understand anything.
Any specific thing which you have understood?
The previous you were showing some.
I think you have written. Yeah. You have written during the bug bounty, right?
Yes,
sir was catching the
sir,
traffic in between. Yeah. Continue, please. Akshay, continue.
I guess, like Akshay, like if you must be confused within the flow, right? Because this is something which is different onto the part. Last, the thing which we were discussing onto the bug bounty part. So I won't touch onto that part very deftly, because there are mix of people, right, who are attending this particular workshop. So it was difficult to cover all the aspects of that. So I want to jump to this introduction to this, so that at least you have an idea and you can explore this.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So no, so previous one, sir, you were showing some visibility in HackerOne and all, and I was like confused what is actually happening. Like I didn't get to know.
Okay. Fine.
Yes, sir.
So yeah. So this is the interface to this Wazoo, right? Once it gets started, you will be landed to this kind of a page wherein you are supposed to have so many things. Okay, so whatever the agents, right, which we have already installed, let's say I have one agent here. It says just click onto that, right? It will list down all the agents which has been installed. So on your premises, let's say if you have 10 servers, you can install the agent onto that and you will start getting the data onto your system. So it will also scan for vulnerabilities onto that system. Let's say if it says Microsoft Windows 10 0 point something, right? So according to the compliance, what is the value of that particular system? If there is any kind of an attack which has been done onto that system, then what was that? Everything is going to be displayed out and shown to you onto this particular portal. If you have like if you are starting up with this data, right, or this particular system, you can go to this sample data, right, settings, just click onto the Wazoo, click on a settings and then sample data, and then okay, so here you will be having sample data, right, which you can directly click onto the head data, and that sample data will be loaded into your system. Because the first thing or first problem which you will realize is you don't have any kind of a data, right? Because we don't have an AWS hosting, or we don't have any web server, or we don't have any kind of a traffic. Then how we will be able to learn this particular stuff? So for that, the provision is available here, that you just need to go to the settings and import the sample data. So with that, the sample data will be loaded out of your system. So again, let me just go to this module and go to this MITRE ATT framework. Here the filter has been given out, so let me just okay. So I have last 1 week, right? Last week 1 week data I have inserted here. That is the sample data. So here you can see the incidents has been responded, right? Let's say a brute force. So if there is any brute force which has been done on any of the website, or sorry, any of the agent, right? Then what was the frequency of that, right? If it is a removal of a service, then where the particular thing has been happened. If it is a pseudo privileges which has been taken out into the consideration, then what was the system, right? So all the events, right, all the logs is going to be taken into the consideration, and it will be converted into the graph, so that you will be able to do a proper analysis on that part. If it is a lateral movement, if it is a credential access, what will be the impact, collection, initial access, defensive version, persistence, discovery, whatever the logs are there, whatever the category it falls under, right, it will be able to highlight, or it will be able to identify, right? And based on the rules, it will be showing you that where it falls off, right? So let me just show you some detailed analysis here, right? So I have selected that particular time span, so it is filtered out. That means 24th of 2021 to 25th 2021 2143. So in between, whatever the thing that has been zoomed in, right? Again, I can like zoom in this, and all the statistics, right, that is going to differ accordingly, right? So I can do a proper analysis of the data which has been received, or which I have in logs, right? So I can see there is some standard non-application layer protocol has been utilized, right? Let's say there is a peak here, so it says that valid accounts has been logged in, right? Let's say if it is a 12 o'clock, right? It says at 12 o'clock and the 12:15. So if your origination is running from morning 10 to 5, then no one will be able to, or no one should be able to log in at the 12:15, because it might be some attacker who has got into your system, right? So such kind of an data will leads you that your data has been compromised, right, or your system has got affected. And if you have a proper rule set up, right, let's say if any login is being done after, let's say, 10 to 5, then you will get an email notification, so that the person who is sitting in front of a SIEM tool will be having an access that whenever someone is logged in, it will get a notification that someone is logged in. So you can cross check that what is the user, what is the data which has been transferred, what kind of an activity which is being done by that particular user. So it's a kind of a 24/7 job which offers a huge amount of like opportunities are there if anyone wants to make a career into that particular field, right? So there's a huge openings for this area wherein you can apply for opportunity. Additionally, it works as like as I have told you that it works with the KQL, right? That is a Kibana query language. By now you are aware with the SQL, right? When this particular thing is work as a KQL, which is Kibana query language. So you can filter out the traffics, whatever it is available here, right? So let me just yes, it's stopped. So here you can see I have a log of entire timestamp, right? At 9 o'clock what was happened, right? At 11:30 what was happened, right? And in detail, right? Whatever the logs are there, where it correlates, right? Let's say if it's a defense evasion initial, right? So that has been given us, right? Impact has been updated here. Discovery was being done. So I can just filter out this by this plus sign. So whatever the discoveries are there, right, that will be available here. So that has been added into the filter now. So with this, आपको क्या करना है, मतलब like by going through the reports only, right, or going through the data only, logs only, you will be able to get the information that what is going on, or like you can come to a conclusion that there is something which has been anomaly which has been happened into the around the 12, right, around the 12 in midnight, right. So with that, we'll be able to get the information from the particulars, all the logins, right. There are n number of modules available which you can search for, right. VirusTotal APIs are also available. So if you have any data which is something malicious, right, that will only automatically send the hash value to that, and it will tell you that there is some malicious data which has been downloaded by a user, right, and that has been stored into this particular location, right. So this way this way you will be able to get all the information from the system, right. That is 2 are the malicious and 9 was the total positives which has been detected over here so far, right. And that's into this particular time span. So if you are doing an analysis for today only, right, then you can see, let's say if you have some incident which has happened last month, right, so you can check what is the overall behavior of the system, right. जो आपको डेटा मिल रहा है कि that Domino's has been compromised. So how they are going to come to that particular point that attacker has entered into their server at what particular time, and how they have collected data, or what kind of data has been gone from your server. Everything is going to be stored under the log. So with that, the server or the system or the company is authorizing that yes, this is what the data which has been leaked into market, right. Otherwise the company will not be having any idea. So that is why the logs are very much essential and needs to configure onto the real systems, so that you have at least an idea that what kind of an activity has been done in the past, right. So right, so that's it. I guess that's it from my side, right. You can explore this Wazoo in depth, right. I'll be sharing the documents or the slides which I used today, right, shortly, so that you can refer to. Okay, so any questions from your side? Actually, I have one more session at 3 at somewhere else, so I'll be.
So we're picking only 1 to 2 questions only, sir,
sure,
from the chat window. I think Vijaya madam already asked, raised the hand. Yeah, yes, madam.
Hello.
I muted you.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir. Hello. Hello. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Continue, ma'am.
Yeah. Yeah, good afternoon, sir. It's an excellent session. From morning, I'm listening you. Only one part I missed, that mobile security software which you explained in the morning. And one more thing I wish to ask about this Wazoo. Say this software which you demonstrated just now. Which sample data you have taken? That means it is your own PC.
No,
Can
no, no.
we
Like,
do that
yeah,
scanning,
sure.
or we have to take a virtual server and we can do
Right.
the analysis?
Okay. So, like the
Can you-
last question which you asked, that Wazoo is already having built-in data, right? They have performed various tasks onto the various system at their level or on their premises. So you can just simply import it and learn the stuff that how the actually malwares are going to be
Okay,
detected in
and but
this.
it only shows the events, right? So it's only giving the intrusion detection. It detects only. It is not giving the total report, right?
Right, right, right.
When the event
It
of.
will only
Uh,
tell you that, like whatever the rules, like this same tool are basically works
okay.
with the rules. So whatever the rule which you have defined it there, it will tell you that this is the IP address where the malicious file has been downloaded. So you can just go to that, drill down to that particular report, that who is the owner of that particular computer, and then accordingly you can get into the system.
Okay. Okay. And which is the mobile security software, sir?
Uh, I'm not able to recall that what I was talking about the mobile security, but if you are
It's
testing it, it's
antivirus, some antivirus you mentioned in between in the flow, but I missed that
yes,
part.
yes, yes, yes. That I was telling you that there are certain websites when you visit that website, it will pop up with the vibration, and then it says that there is a malware which has been detected in your phone. I guess if you are talking of that. Otherwise, myactivity.google.com, that I have told you that myactivity.google.com can be visited, where you will be finding the logs of your Google account. That's the one thing. And I guess then MoveSF, but I think I haven't discussed it on that part. But
Is there
I'm not sure.
any mobile antivirus software? Is there?
No, 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 no. There is no nothing or antivirus software. Even if it is for a desktop, they if you like keep real time updated, then it's also going to be worth. Otherwise, there is no use of antivirus, because if you are like, yeah,
Okay.
you can go
But
to the
it's
recordings and
full session, sir. Thank you so much.
thank
I
you.
really enjoyed your session from morning. I'm listening you, but still we are also in load. We have some task in between. So, but
We
still
can
I'm
understand,
taking.
ma'am.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's
Yeah,
really very nice and
thank you.
session
So
today.
yeah, thank you, ma'am, for your feedback. Madhav sir, as sir is having the another lectures and scheduled lectures, so we'll wrap up the sessions.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And in case of any participant is having any question, then you can
yeah,
send me that over the email. I'll be happy to answer those.
yeah. Okay, sir. I think probably you have also disclosed your contact number also during the
Yes,
chat, right?
yes, yes, yes.
So
I
they
like
can come. Yeah,
name is enough.
Sir,
Now
please
today's
uh,
world,
share it your.
you can just Google it.
yeah. So we'll end the session with the thanks note. And sir, before the Madhav sir provides the thanks, we'd like to thank you for accepting our invitation in very short notice. Thank you for that.
Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
over to you, Madhav sir.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Priyank Parmar,
Yeah, thank you.
for both afternoon and before noon sessions. Both sessions were really valuable. Password hacking, cracking, phishing, demonstration of Wazoo, and especially that bug bounty demonstration was very interesting. Generally, we never find such demonstration of bug bounty in open discussion type of event, especially when event is free of cost. Because not always, but most of time, bug bounty itself reward earning activity, yeah, right? So that also required expert level knowledge of this domain. And we have some professionals and cybersecurity field practitioners in this session. So I think that this session added the knowledge to yours. But yes, maybe some attendees of beginner level or students may get confused, but believe me, it is really worth. You might get something new and extra by this session. We believe that all of you may use this knowledge for constructive purpose only and not to harm or for destructive purpose. As a coordinator of this event, when me and Mr. Preet are stuck at somewhere due to unavailability of expert due to some medical emergency, we appreciate Mr. Priyank for his quick positive response and acceptance of our request in such a short notice. We would like to thank Mr. Akash Thakur also, due to which such quick arrangement was possible. So we will have Mr. Akash Thakur at 3:15 p.m. after a short break for remaining session of 1 hour. Thank you very much, Priyank sir.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you everyone. And I just wanted to add one more line here that I have like covered up or I have touched on to the various part, right? And for the students, it's just to have an inlet or a small direction that on which particular direction you should search, right? And you can jump into this any of the field, right, which you have feel better. Let's say if you have filled bug bounty as in some useful direction, then you can search onto that direction, right? Let bug crowd or HackerOne or what should be your approach, right? That is what we have discussed. Otherwise, there are n number of things, as I have told you in morning also, that it's an ocean and you cannot learn everything. So a focused work is required. So if you are interested into the theme, you can explore that particular direction. So I have touched onto the various areas today due to the lack of the time availability, but still I have tried to cover up as many things as I can do. Yeah. Thank you so much, everyone. I have one more session at 3.
Thank you.
Right? So just getting a call there. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.